If your laptop CPU is better than your heater and your toaster, then this video is for you. By the end of this video, your CPU temperatures will get so much better that you will like this video and subscribe for more. Undervolting basically means that you lower the voltage going into your CPU, due to which it generates less heat and increases battery life. But what you might not know is that undervolting your CPU can actually lead to better performance. See, here's the thing. When you undervolt your CPU, you pass less voltage to it, which generates less heat. And because there is less heat generation, your CPU doesn't thermally throttle as quickly, which allows it to maintain a higher clock speed over time. For those of you who don't know, clock speed refers to the number of clock cycles your CPU can perform per second. A 4 GHz clock speed means that your CPU can perform 4 billion cycles per second. Now, if you don't use undervolting, then your CPU shall run at a very high clock speed for a very short amount of time, and then its performance shall start degrading because of heat generation. The app which I would recommend for undervolting is called Throttle Stop, and it works with both Intel and AMD CPUs. Once you open Throttle Stop, click on the FIVR button, and then another pop-up shall open. From here, select the CPU core option, tick mark the unlock adjustable voltage option, and then slide the offset voltage slider to the left. This will lead to undervolting. A recommended value is minus 0.50, but you can go as low as long as your system remains stable and you don't have any blue screens of death. After you have done this for the CPU core, do the same for the CPU cache. Select the CPU cache option, unlock the adjustable voltage, and then put the same value you put in the CPU core option in the CPU cache. If the above solution doesn't work for you, the problem might be with your cooling system instead of your CPU. So open up your laptop, take a cloth and clean out the motherboard and especially the fans and remove all of the dust clogged on it. This might seem a small task, but this can make a very big impact. If you are scared to open up your laptop and you don't want to undervolt it, then you will have to tune back the performance of your CPU. Just go to your control panel, hardware and sound, power options, change plan settings, change advanced power settings, and then from the processor power management, tune down the minimum and maximum power state to your liking. This will lead to performance depreciation depending upon the value you have set. If you have super powerful hardware but an insufficient cooling system, then you can add extra cooling to it in the form of cooling pads. Cooling pads are available for quite cheap on Amazon, and they add extra fans to the outer of your laptop so that the chassis and the CPU remain cold. Links to some of the best CPU cooling pads are in the description. Malware is everywhere. In 2021 alone, 1200 million viruses have been created. If you think of malware as something that just accesses your personal info, leaks it, and accesses your PC and files without your permission, then you're wrong. Viruses, when they infect your system, keep on running in the background all the time so that they can access various parts of your system. This constant running in the background leads to higher memory usage and CPU usage. And because of higher CPU usage, that leads to a lot of heat generation. Some of the best antivirus programs that I would recommend are McAfee, Norton, Bitdefender, and Malwarebytes. Something you might not think of is that instead of your hardware, it can be the software heating the laptop up. Different laptops have different CPUs, but they are based on two main architectures, x86 and ARM. Different apps we use in our day-to-day lives are optimized for these particular architectures to maximize performance, increase battery life, and generate as less heat as possible. When you use an unoptimized app on your system, that leads to a lot of slowdowns, a decrease in battery life, and also a lot of heat generation. So if your laptop is heating up while using one particular app, Then check if it is correctly optimized for your particular architecture and check why it is generating a lot of heat. For example, if you own an M1 machine and you use Premiere Pro on it, you know that Premiere Pro isn't the fastest video editor when you compare it to Final Cut and DaVinci Resolve. Also, it generates a lot of heat, especially on the base M1 MacBook Air, and it sucks through your battery life. And all that is because of poor software optimization for the M1. But Premiere Pro recently got optimized for the M1 and we expect better performance and battery life and heat management. You can watch all about that over here. That was for this video. This is Naman from Explorers of Tech and I'll see you in the next one.